Hello there. So today I'm going to be talking about 1107 of One Piece. I'm going to be giving it a bit more detail and a bit more, pizzazz to it as I go over it. I won't be going over in full detail so that when it fully comes out and you want to read it, you aren't fully spoiled, but just so you kind of know the general plot of everything that's happening, or if you don't want to watch, you don't want to read it, you at least will know kind of the storyline that's going on so you aren't completely confused when somebody brings up something that's a reference and you don't understand it. At least you will because you haven't read it, but you heard this video. So to start 1107, Dory and Bragi of the Giant Pirates have signaled to Oimo and Kashi, who are the two giants from Enies Lobby that kind of joined up with us when we had said, hey, your captains are on Little Garden, they're fine, go get them later on. So they say, hey, you guys go to the other side of the island and continue attacking there. So they are now going to start seemingly a pincer maneuver on the entirety of the island of giants, which is terrifying to think that giants are pincering this island. And Usopp takes notice of them. He has binoculars, he looks down, and we get a "My Masters" as he sees his masters, Dory and Bragi. And then we also see Oimo and Kashi, and it's because of that where we get a line where basically that's kind of what we intend is like, oh, Oimo and Kashi, they must have gone and gotten Dory and Bragi off of Little Garden, because that is what they were doing. They were on their way to Little Garden to get their captains, but they were captured by Marines and forced to become Marines. So that's where they were for the longest time, instead of getting their captains because they got captured. Once they were quote-unquote freed from the Marines by the Straw Hats, they just went back to Little Garden and get them. I guess it was just as simple as that. It makes sense. Although the line that Usopp says, oh, that's gotta be it. Just the phrasing of, oh yeah, that's gotta be it. It makes it seem like on the surface level, yes, that's what happened, but there might also be more to it that we don't know yet. So I'm very interested in seeing where all that's going to be going. We also got confirmation on how they even know this is happening, as the small Vegapunk, I can't remember all their names, like which ones goes to which, at some point I will, but the small Vegapunk who has like a country accent, he does mention the Navy marshaled a ton of manpower for this operation. It's no wonder it'd make the paper, but I reckon the headlines must be painting them in a good light. So I have a piece of paper on my left hand so I can read it, but seemingly by that line, the news, somebody of the news has gotten here and is, painting what's happening, except by his phrasing of, they must be painting the Marines in a good light. If this is true, and this is what the newspaper was saying, clearly this isn't Big News Morgans who's reporting on this. Presumably, we also don't think it would be bad news or Big News Morgans, because he is with Princess Vivi and King Wapol from the Revelry. He had picked him up from Marijois and is escaping with them because they saw stuff that they shouldn't have. Well, Wapol saw something and Vivi knows now. Also, she's a member of D and blah, blah, blah. So, unless Big News Morgans had gone all the way from the Revelry all the way to Egghead in such a short time, which, considering that he's a flying vehicle, he uses a flying vehicle and not a ship, he is unabated by, most things. So, could he have gotten there in time? Yeah, sure, and he could have reported on it. But then, once we see the news article, I think it'll make sense, because if it's positive for the Marines, it's some random news thing. But if it's positive for, if it's just, actually what's happening, then that's Big News Morgans being the GOAT, telling us exactly what's happening, that the island of Egghead Island and Vegapunk is being attacked by the Marines. He's not going to spin it as, oh, the pirates are attacking. It's going to be Emperor of the Sea Luffy came here, and the Marines called a buster call to try to get rid of him. So, interesting to see what the news is talking about. On to our next part. Upon the revelation of, they need to get off the island because the giants are here to help them, and the giants aren't here to lay siege on the island. The giants are here to get them off the island, to get the Straw Hats off the island. So upon this revelation, they make a phone call to Brook, and Brook's situation is that they are currently kind of creating on ice bubbles that they've done. They've created bubbles with one of the other Vegapunks that are on it, and Brook is freezing them, but as a result, they don't have any control over the ship, so it is now careening off, going extremely fast, and the situation is they need to stop, but will they be able to stop in time without, accidentally hitting the barrier? Probably, but we'll have to see how that works. Jinbei, upon hearing this, goes, all right, well, gotta go get Zoro, because we need to get prepped to leave. So he heads out to leave to find Zoro to get him. Zoro, in the meantime, this entire time, since I think it's been like 4 chapters or something, it's been a couple of chapters, he's just been fighting Lucci. Him and Rob Lucci have been going at it to, have that conflict going, and it's a good fight from the looks of things. Both are on even playing fields. Both are pretty exhausted, kind of exasperated, sweating, breathing, panting, gasping for air, before having just a small exchange of Zoro panting a bit, saying, "You're pretty tough, but I'm in a hurry. It's time to wrap this up." Lucci responding, "Only the winner gets to talk like that, Roronoa," which, pretty fun thing. He then leads in to say, Zoro, you're, basically saying, Zoro, you're a burden. You guys need to learn that it's better to cut the arm off of the body, like cut the arm off if you want the body to live. So presumably just saying like, hey, Zoro, it's better to leave you behind than waiting for a corpse. But the way that Zoro responds, it almost sounds like you think you're the one in control of this fight, Rob Lucci. It almost makes it seem like the fight itself isn't actually going to be concluded in combat, but it's Lucci, like this line that Lucci said to Zoro is not Lucci saying, Zoro, you're a burden, you're the weak link, you're getting left behind. He's saying that to Zoro, but he actually means it about himself. He thinks that the Buster Call has been made. There's an admiral, there is, one of the 5 Gorosei. They're what's important. They're the body of the world government. He knows he's gonna die. He's the burden. He wants the Marines to leave without him, so he doesn't care what's going to happen to him. So that line there isn't saying like, hey, Zoro, you're not all that good, you're bringing a burden, I'm going to beat you. It's more so like hoping that he can like put Zoro down, but in all actuality, he's talking about himself. He's going to get left behind. He's going to probably lose his life here unless the Straw Hats save him, which presumably that's what's going to happen is they'll say, hey, we won't kill you and let him live. And then he might get picked up by a Marine, but because the Marine, he kind of has this new mindset perhaps, and with Kaku also on the island, because he's still alive as well, they might have this whole like, oh, maybe we won't continue with the Marines, not join Straw Hat or the Straw Hat Alliance, but more so be like members of S.H.I.E.L.D., kind of how we presume Aokiji isn't actually a bad guy. Perhaps, Kaku and Lucci can join up with them with Sword, not with S.H.I.E.L.D., with Sword, and kind of join up to start that thing, kind of more jumping in and being the, not evil pirates, but the pirates who do not mind getting their hands dirty for the good guys. Because, all of our good guys, we really don't kill, but Lucci wouldn't mind being on the quote-unquote good side and killing. So, interesting to see how the CP0 members and all the other members of the government who are there, because they're all there and the government knows they're there, but they haven't really sent much to do anything about it. So presumably they're all going to join either Sword, the revolutionaries, or they'll be helping the Straw Hats, not part of the alliance, but just helping them. Next we get to Bonnie and Luffy stuff. We get to see, back when we're in the main area with Bonnie, Luffy, and the rest of the crew, as well as Saturn and Kizaru. So when we get there, we see that Bonnie admits to Luffy, saying like, oh, you're the person who I've been looking for. Luffy responding, what do you mean? I've been here this entire time. Have you been looking for me? Her responding, no, I've been looking for you, Nika. And Luffy responding, Nika? What's that? Not even saying, who's that? He responds directly with, what's that? Not thinking that, oh, Nika, a person, but because of the transformation, that it's now a what, almost. So it's an interesting thing. Also, just the spelling of Neekah instead of the normal way, just to kind of like go how weird it is to him and how he's saying it of Nika. After that, he kind of also comments like, man, that flimsy punch you threw earlier, what was that? Bonnie's saying, well, I wanted to throw a punch like, I want to throw a rubber punch. Why don't you show me how it's done? Do it for me. Do it for Vegapunk. Luffy, seeing Vegapunk on the ground, who had been pierced early in the previous chapter, reacting in typical Gear 5 fashion, decides, yeah, let me show you how a punch is done. Him getting hit by some odd attack by Saturn, he reacts after a glare, presumably kind of like a Jiren situation from Super. And Luffy, not caring, goes, well, let me see it. And he does Booming Dawn Gatling, which is the Gear 5 version of Gum Gum Gatling, and absolutely wrecks Saturn, launching him into a wall. I'm curious to see what the actual damage on his body is, because so far we have seen people get messed up. We've seen him get hit and take a lot of damage, a whole hole through his body, but he just kind of heals it up, and there's no marking as to where the attack was. So I'm curious if his healing factor is so high, or if certain attacks like a mythical zone fruit will be able to do damage to him because it's holy versus unholy or something. So interesting to see the amount of damage he takes. After that, Vegapunk does confirm that he's going to die. He says, I've been a doctor long enough that I know if I'm going to move, I'll die. And Kizaru then says, well, you're going to die anyways, and prepares an attack. And as the laser comes at him, Sanji kicks it away, much to everyone's surprise. Like, Kizaru does a very memeable face that I'm sure we'll be seeing at some point for memes. And Frankie even goes, what? A laser? How? And Sanji just goes, the power of love. Which, typical Sanji fashion. Kizaru even responding, well, I guess we're gonna have to throw out the physics books for that one and rewrite them. So, funny things there. So, I think that's gonna be a fun part. It is, I guess nobody has really seen just how much stronger Sanji is compared to, back then, because they didn't get to see the Queen fight. They didn't get to see him, snap his body back in place after it breaking, or I don't even know if they've seen, just how, all of what he can do since, after the Queen fight and stuff. So this is the first time that they got to see him kick a laser away. And the chapter ends with kind of confirming a theory that I had back for, I think, 1105, when we had seen the, they're coming, who are the they that, is coming. While that answer was the Giants, and it wasn't one of the three I had prepositioned, one of my prepositions was correct. The Blackbeard pirates have arrived. Not all of the Blackbeard pirates, and not even Blackbeard himself. It's actually just Katarina, Devon, and Von Augur. As a reminder of the Blackbeard pirates, in case you don't remember, Katarina Devon has the Dog Fruit modeled nine-tailed fox, aka the Kitsune, which has an ability similar to Bon Clay's Clone Fruit, where he can mimic somebody's appearance, except hers is a lot better because it's the Kitsune. So presumably, because she touched Saint Saturn, one of the five Godosei, she'll now be able to look like him. So be on the be on the lookout for later on whenever we see Saint Saturn. That may not actually be Saint Saturn, but Katarina Devon. And Von Augur is somebody who ate the Warp fruit, which basically gives him the ability of instant transmission. Anything that he can see within a certain range, he's able to teleport to. And he even mentions to Katarina, because Devon mentions, hey, why didn't you get us off the island? And he says, I'm still getting used to it, I'm still training it. So he isn't able to just teleport an infinite amount of distance. He does still have a limited range he can teleport to, but he is able to instant transmission seemingly as Saint Saturn went to attack him, and he just boop, popped away. So that's a very fun thing. So Katarina seems to have, now has Saint Saturn in her database, I guess. Bon Clay is only able to hold, I believe, 5 people at a time for his copy ability. So unknown how many people Devon can capture. So we'll see with that. And also, depending on just how much better hers is, she did touch Saint Saturn while he was transformed in his big spider form. So whether or not that means that she also is going to be able to become the big spider form but not get the benefits, or maybe she will get the benefits because it's the Kitsune. It's a stronger version. We'll have to wait and see for that. And during this, when she had come up and touched him, there's a bit of dialogue between them, a bit of a conversation where Saint Saturn starts saying, what business do you have here? No response, immediately asking, why are you you, a level 6 prisoner, why are you Teach's subordinate? Her just simply saying, Teach is special, as is his lineage. In response, says Saturn. I think, at least it looks like Saturn says that. Saturn saying, as is his lineage. Ah, so you know about that, says Devon. Your crew is always up to something. What do you hope to get out of these stunts? The world. before he goes to attack him and the teleport happens. They kind of go on. We get that bit of conversation of, like, I'm training to get better at it. Why don't you get us off the island thing? And then at the very end, we see Caribou, the Swamp Man, saying just like, oh my god, I'm such a big fan. Please let me join the Blackbeard Pirates. I've always wanted to be a subordinate of Blackbeard. He has like a very similar like Bartolomeo seeing Luffy for the first time type of response. And it's because of that way, the way that he is very similar to how Bartolomeo first met Luffy, that I don't think it's actually true. I don't think that he's seeing Blackbeard and going, oh, I've been such a big fan this entire time. I think he's seeing Blackbeard and is no, not actually Blackbeard, but, seeing the crew, and he's pretending. Maybe one of the, the smarter members of the Straw Hat crew, maybe, just Caribou himself, having, kind of, knowing how much better the Straw Hats are, how much cooler Luffy is. Maybe he actually is being like, oh yeah, I've been a big fan of Blackbeard this entire... let me join your... I'm your number one fan. I'll be a support. I'll do whatever. But he's all pretending. Not, Nami or Nico said, why don't you pretend? Why don't you double cross? At some point, why don't you get us more information? And it's this point that he's finally like, I can get the information. I can get onto Blackbeard's crew. I can give, false information to Blackbeard, and I can possibly even get information from Blackbeard. And, he's finally like, maybe we can actually do something with this. So he's going to join Blackbeard's crew and potentially get found out that he's, giving out information, but he's able to get it to somebody like Aokiji, who also is not part of Blackbeard's crew. Maybe he's even able to get it to Sabo or someone, or to Kobe, one of the people of the Marines, who's also kind of with Luffy, as Kobe was just there on a pirate island. So, but I don't think that Caribou is actually betraying the Straw Hats. I think it's going to be another double cross, and Caribou is still on our side. But that actually does it for this chapter. That's 1107. I will be talking about 1108 when it comes out, and I think I do have some more videos and discussion that I will be doing over 1107, because there's actually a lot of good stuff with it. But yeah, that's going to take care of this video. This one's long, and I'm happy about it. It means I'm doing a lot better for my content, because I used to record and I would do a video and it'd be like 6 minutes long, and I would have gotten the information out. So to see that this is such a long video and I got the information out, feels good for me. Hopefully it's good for you guys too, and you guys enjoy it. If you did, then like, comment, subscribe. I'll be doing this more often, so stick around for all sorts of fun videos of One Piece and any other anime that I feel like watching or reading and commenting on. So until next time, bye guys.